Okay, so this is homeless night 2. Um, oh, I feel drastically different tonight. I'm in here kind of early. It's about 9:30. The sun's going down, and today I just brought some extra blankets. I had like some bed sheets that are mine. So I brought a bed sheet out. I brought a sweatsuit, it's that PVC material. It's plastic, so I'll be putting that over my shirt. I think that'll keep the heat in. And like right now, I'm kind of sweating, and but I know it's as the night goes on, the temperature will drop, and then around like 1 or 2 in the morning, it gets quite cold. So I'm prepared with that. I have some towels. I had three of my own towels, so I brought them out. I have one where my lower back is, and it just feels more cramped than I remember it. And I could see this really, like this circumstance, it would need to change quickly, because I can see it having like an impact, a negative impact on me real soon. And so much to talk about, and I'm happy to debrief with each and every one of you. And so like today, so I didn't receive a phone call from social assistance, so I'm still not certain if like what's going on with that. And I noted with my father, he's that tension is pretty much gone, like completely gone. And which makes it really, really like it's just like I was sitting out back today waiting for the phone call, and he said, hey, he's like, they haven't phoned you yet. And I said, nope, not yet. He said, well, that's kind of strange. I would think that like they would have a number for you to phone them, like otherwise you're just kind of like you could be in the lurch. And I was like, I don't know how it goes. We have to figure it out as I go along. And but anyways, it was just a very cordial conversation. And I find that like it's that seems to be the case. I find um, with him and I. And so this is something I'll talk about on a later date. Um, because these things cannot be repeated, and the only way to ensure they're not repeated is to see the errors within them, and to recognize the errors, and to have all needed healing completed. But yeah, like now that I'm not living in their place, like I'm not sleeping there, um, um, he's quite it's like talking to a completely different person. Like he's very reasonable, like he's extremely easy to talk to. And like I said, like today, it wasn't like last Friday. It was, I don't care if they haven't phoned you, like you're on the street. And then today it's, oh, that's strange that they haven't phoned you. I wonder if there's a way for you to get a hold of them. But it said just in a really kind way, and a more of a concerned way. So anyways, and there's videos that I'll do on that. I've already done one today, and but also tonight. One of the strategies that I have with this is to keep my mind focused. And I have the writing, I have jobs to apply for. So these are two basic things that I'm able to do. And so it's wise for me. Like this morning, I was up at 5. I did I prayed, and then read the Holy Scriptures, and then I went for a walk, and got exercise in, and then I came back, and I just basically waited. Like I did work on my computer and wrote, but I was thinking I'm going to start like documenting the things that I'm doing, and I was thinking something that I want to share with others, and I'll lead by example, is if you're going through a transition of homelessness, I understand like from a employer's perspective, uh, of course they're going to see things from the more typical perspective, and that'll be maybe there's drug issues, maybe there's alcohol issues, addiction issues, maybe there's what the world would call mental illness, maybe there's all these different things, and that can really be a prohibitor, like a great barrier from you having access, or sorry, you being in the running or consideration for a job. And I was thinking today how wise it is to ensure that you set yourself up for success. And so this morning I was thinking, make sure you drink, like for myself, hydrate yourself. Ensure that you're always hydrated. Last night the sleep wasn't great. It wasn't perfect, but it was adequate. Like I had energy all day, and I had like a nap, but I have naps all the like whenever I can, anyways. Um, but um, the biggest thing. So I'm just adjusting this phone here. But the biggest thing is I'm focused on getting out of this. I'm focused on not staying here, not remaining here. So every step is highly like I need to be very intentional with every step. So it's not just the like hydration, but also what am I eating? Am I replenishing like the vitamins and minerals in my body? So like I need to ensure that I'm doing my best to ensure that I'm eating healthy food. The times that I'm eating are going to be important now too, because I wouldn't want to eat too late and then come in here and then have issues with my stomach or my bladder. But the biggest thing is during my waking time, I need to be very productive, and I don't mean busy, I mean productive, working towards goals. So I have the writing, so I have that novel, the very basic one and vanilla one. Um, um, that's a priority right now. The job search is a priority, and I find once you're on top of the job search, like once you go through, like if you have all the different career pages, if you have like those links saved on your computer, and if you have like say if you're going through Indeed, like the different job search engines, like once you've already perused through them, you're pretty much up to date. So then every day you're just looking for like the most current jobs. So if you're well organized, you can kind of go through that pretty quick and make sure that your resumes are being sent out as soon as the postings are coming up. But it's wise to document. It's wise for me to document what I'm doing right now, and to document my time. And I was thinking about that this morning, how some of these things, these things are transferable. An attitude, when you're at your lowest, that's when you actually get to see what you're really made out of. That's when you really get to see what is truly inside of you. That's when you get to really see whether you fold or whether you persevere. And so also when you're at your lowest, that's when you really get to see what access you have. Like you can have all the wisdom in the world, but if you're unable to draw from that well of wisdom when it's needed most, there's a problem. It's similar to having like all the tools, like a fighter, or say like a professional sports athlete, having all the abilities, but then in like when the pressure's on in the most important game, are you able to access those abilities and execute? So it's the same thing with this. Like I find going through this, I'm going through it, and this is definitely not something I've ever desired, and definitely not something I would desire for anybody else. But it's a part of my life right now, and so going through this the right way is imperative, and that's what I'm going to do, and learning what is like what I have access to, what is deep inside of me. Do I react or do I respond? You know, when the chips are low and the pressure's on, how do I talk to people? Am I cool, calm, and collected? Do I still talk to them with levels of degrees of respect and degrees of consideration? Or do I get really snappy and have an attitude with them? You know, it's wonderful if I can speak this into your heart and into your life. These are wonderful times to allow the Lord to really prune you and to build that patience and develop the fruit of the Holy Spirit. And I find, like, when we talk about the fruit of the Holy Spirit, we seldom talk about long suffering, and long suffering is very, very important. And yeah, so am I going to be loving to the people around me when I'm going through these things? Am I going to be patient to the people around me? These fruits, this character is developed when you go through circumstances that aren't that are very difficult, and that's kind of if you look at it from that perspective, it's kind of a wonderful situation to be in. So, sorry, my parents they just came back, and they don't know that I'm sleeping in my car, so nobody actually knows. And we're talking about that. I'll be very transparent with you with my reasonings, if if I'm even if I even have any reasons for them at this moment. But anyways, I'll pause this until like they're inside. Okay, sorry about that. I think I lost my train of thought there, but yeah, I'll talk more in depth about just good learning lessons while you're down here. But also, I'm trying to think of ways to to show to show would initiative be the right word? To show employers that you're, I think like the biggest stigma or the biggest thought that would be common would be, once again, that you're like just wasting your time, like being idle with your time, and maybe spending time with company that's just that's not serious, and it's wise to do your best to put yourself in a position where you can actually talk, like in an interview, and say, well, like while I was without work, I was working on this and this, and I was trying to better myself here and here, and I was like studying this language and that language. And I think that's a good segue to talk about what I like to debrief and kind of just share like what I did today. So it was the main thing was to gauge how I felt, because I usually sleep with a sleep apnea mask. So I wanted to ensure that my quality of sleep was good enough that I wasn't going to feel lethargic throughout the day. And thankfully I did. I had a lot of energy. I felt quite fine. Sleep in terms of fatigue. And after I went for the walk this morning, I made sure that I focused in, and it was constructive, uninterrupted focus on the writing. And I was thinking I should probably like document like my progress, and what I'm doing with the writing, just to stay a little more organized, because I'd like to have that completed soon. I need to generate income and get some finances going, and although that the book might be a long shot, it's something that I'm working on, and it's worth completing. And I had that idea, and I'm going to stick through it. I'm going to finish and complete that idea, and that's very important to me. I was gonna study Spanish today, but I didn't get around to it. And I was focusing a lot on nutrition as well. But anyway, so I found the day to be very productive, and I treat it like an 8 to 4. And tonight there was some guys going to the pickleball courts to play pickleball, and so I joined them. And I was thinking, and I didn't share with anybody that I'm homeless, and I don't know why I didn't share. I didn't feel like it was important to share, I guess. And I don't want my focus to be on this circumstance. Like, I have some ideas of the next step, but I want to make sure that I'm there for others, and that I'm also not, like, this is not going to be something that like I was thinking about this morning with the children of Israel when they were going through the wilderness. They murmured and they complained, and they said, "Oh goodness, Lord, Moses, did you bring us out here, so we can die?" And it would have been better for us to have remained in Egypt. And I was thinking, no, no. Where God found me, and what He's delivered me from, my goodness, like, I am forever grateful to Him. And the vision that He has for the spiritual promised land, the vision that He's got for me, I am so like thankful to go in that direction, and to seek it with all that I have. So no matter what I come across, no matter what difficulties, I'm just going to keep trusting in Him, and we're going to see how things unfold. I'm not going to I'm not going to whine. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to murmur against God. I'm going to be grateful, and I'm just going to learn what it is He wants me to learn in every situation, and I'll do it joyfully. And so tonight, when I was at the pickleball courts, a friend of mine, he lost his really dear friend recently, and so it was important to be there for him. And afterwards we had a tea, and we talked, and I was just thinking, like, it's so important to remain present. It's so important to be there for others. Like, so many folks are going through different things, and you know what I mean? Like, it's just to provide support in any way that I can. And then the other gentleman, he was just 1 second here. Okay, my apologies. There's some young kids walking by, and I note that as much as I can hear them, they could hear me, and that is I'm comfortable being here, but I would rather not be known to be in here. But anyways, I think everybody could sense that something was off with me. I was doing my best just to remain, just normal and present, and I was thinking this is wise to, my natural inclination would be to recluse myself when I'm going through situations like this. This is pretty extreme for me, and I'm really not certain how to get out of it. And so my natural inclination most certainly would be to recluse myself until the next step is presented, and until I'm out of this situation. And I was thinking, well, that's probably the worst thing I could do. Like, it's wise to continue, like, a good structure and a good routine, like to like hanging out and fellowshipping with others and playing like a sport and having that little bit of competitiveness in there. It's actually a wonderful thing, and you know, it's good to have your day broken up, like where you have like these different outlets, and and the conversation was it was a very fruitful conversation. It was a really good group of guys, and then having tea with my other friend, and he's just talking about how he's gonna miss his dear friend, and he's grieving, and how he's going to allow himself to go through the grieving process, but he's going to trust God and rely on God's comfort. And then we got to pray together. Like it was a really fruitful time. And I decided I want to do this like an update for each and every one of you. But I also want to get prayer time in as well, and then I'm gonna go to sleep. And but anyways, I was thinking to keep up with a routine. Like I don't want to act like I'm homeless. I don't want to, like right now I'm without a home, but that it's a circumstance that's going to be taken care of smartly. And in the interim, um, I don't want to. I can see the danger in, you know, allowing my thoughts to slide in a certain direction, and then fear to come in, or doubt to come in, then fear to come in, and then panic to come in, and then all of a sudden, my emotional state is instable, and my thought life would then be very staticky, and then it would just make a very bad situation worse. But from a spiritual perspective, from the perspective of the kingdom of God, it would be very, very, very dangerous, extremely dangerous. Meaning, there's God can do all things, well, certainly, but I have to trust Him and permit Him to do all things. And the moment I entertain doubt and allow fear and anxiety to come in, that means I'm now, outside of His kingdom. And so it's imperative that I remain step in step with the Spirit. And part of fully trusting Him is to fully trust Him with my mind, and to fully believe without doubting that, like this, I'm going to come out of this stronger and just more Christ-like. So I'm excited for that. So it's imperative that I do not entertain fear at all. And okay, somebody just walked by. All right. But yeah, I have a different perspective now on this. It's like the reality is starting to hit me, and I think it's similar to what I was saying yesterday about how I want to record how I felt about this, and I was giving the example of like going to college. It's almost overwhelming. Like there's just too much going on for the first probably the first month or 2 months, and then you get in the routine, and then you get you understand the lay of the land, and you understand how things work, and then if somebody asks you like your opinion on college, like after Thanksgiving, so after like 2 months has passed, then you can actually say, oh yeah, this is what it's like. The reality is starting to click in, And I would love to say that it doesn't have an impact on me. It does have an impact on me. I'm really not happy with being here at all. And I'm I'm struggling with understanding like where the next step is. And to provide an update, I haven't heard back from my friend. It was yesterday in the morning when I phoned him, and I mentioned like how dire the situation was, and he just like meaning like I just need a place to stay. Like I'm actually homeless. I've been asked to leave from my parents' place like urgently and immediately. And he said he would talk with his grandpa and his mother, and he'd get back to me. He didn't get back to me yesterday, and then he hasn't at least I know of he hasn't phoned today. And so I was thinking about that earlier, and I was thinking about okay, like I wish I wasn't in a situation where I'd put my friend would even put this on my friend, this request, but there's a short list of people that I can ask, and he's on that short list. But also I'm very respectful to whatever the choice is, whatever the decision is. It will have no impact on me or our friendship whatsoever. However, it might be difficult for him to say no, and I have to be sensitive to that and understanding of that. And yeah, so it's terrible in that perspective, because I don't want to ever put anybody out or put them in an awkward position where they're making a decision that they probably wouldn't even want to be in that inquired about. And this kind of can add a lot of insight into I find when we're just use myself, my former self, I was very quick at just drawing up assumptions and suppositions. And if I would have heard oh, somebody's homeless, then I would say, oh well, they have family. Why don't they just maybe they're too prideful, why don't they go to their family? Or oh, they have friends, why can't one of their friends just put them up for a week or 2 weeks until they get more clarification? Or even in this case, well, if his parents want him out right away, you know then there's clearly something bad has happened. He's clearly done something to had an argument with them, or maybe he's done drugs in their house, or maybe he's thrown a temper tantrum, or maybe he's I don't know, A B C D E F. It could be anything. And so I think this is just a wonderful example of sometimes it's none of those, and but I too would have just drawn up these scenarios and thought, well, they should just do this or this or this, and I would have been convinced that that person would fall into one of those scenarios. And now I realize, oh, sometimes there's another variable or another scenario that's less commonly talked about, if ever talked about, and it could just be they don't have the options that you think they have. Their friends would love to help you out, but they don't have the ability to help them out that you think they have. This might be the best solution that perhaps they've tried, and this is the best solution that they can get to. So yeah, I think that's a positive I can take from this, and a good learning lesson, a really good learning lesson. And I think that's pretty much it to share. Oh goodness, it's really hot in here. It's very almost suffocating, and I'm thinking, oh goodness, don't be deceived. Give it a couple hours, and then once the temperature drops enough, the heat inside of here is going to slowly leak out, and then the temperature is going to get very, very chilly. So I have to be prepared for that. And yeah, anyways, I think that's going to be it for the night. And my apologies. I desire to be able to reveal these things. I desire for these things to be very informative, and for this time, like while I'm going through this, definitely not something I desire to share with others, definitely not something that I'm proud of, but being that I'm going through it and I have the faculty of mind to, and the ability, even technologically, to do this, it's wonderful for me to, just to see an opportunity and just to provide, there's people coming by again. Just to provide some information while I'm going through it and real time. But I prefer to do it, to have it more compartmentalized. I prefer to have it more organized. I prefer to have like a list and say, okay, this is what I'm dealing with, and this is how I'm in the moment. These are the options that I have, and this is the reasoning behind these choices that I'm making. And before, I remember I was asking people online. I want to find out if anybody, I want to get a panel, find like a panel of folks that have sincere questions for somebody who's potentially going to be homeless. Like I knew this was a potential if I couldn't get a job. Like I had the date to of July 1st to be out, and if I couldn't get a job, then I'd have to go for social assistance. If I could get social assistance, and even if I was getting social assistance, there was a possibility that while I'm looking for the next place, I would be homeless. So, but my desire was to be proactive with that and to be to find some folks that had sincere questions. And I was thinking it would be wonderful. Then I could actually field those questions and put them on like a blog, or but do it in such a way where individuals that sincerely are looking to, maybe they have loved ones that are going through this, or maybe they just want to learn more about this. I believe homelessness is increasing in our societies and our communities, and so perhaps many folks, they just like, this might be a topic of interest where they would like just to learn a little bit more and just to acquire a little bit more information from somebody's experience. And I was thinking, well, this would be a wonderful opportunity to provide that, and I'd be more than honored and happy to provide that information. And but I didn't get those questions. It was really hard to. It was almost like I wasn't even able to ask that question. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. But anyways, if I seem a little more, like a little less peppy than I was yesterday, it's because I'm a little less peppy than I was yesterday. But that's okay. I'm going to, I'm going to keep learning and growing.